Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to another exciting edition of Ray's Breakfast, the show where hot topic meets real talk, and we break it all down the youth-centered way. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and joining me at the table today are my ever-vibrant co-anchors, the sharp and stunning Idehen Goodness, and the always-on-point Olola Day Triumph. Together, we bring you bold conversations, fresh perspectives, and all the gist that matters to you. Now, if you're new here, just know this, that this is not your regular breakfast show. Ray's Breakfast is where we tackle real issues, decode viral moments, and ask the question that everyone's thinking but no one's asking, all with a touch of wit, wisdom, and good vibes. So whether you're at home, in traffic, or sneaking in some screen time at the office, stay locked in because today's gist, today's gist, oh my God, let's just say Reno Omokri is shaking tables again, claiming that only virgins deserve bride price. Now, is this culturally true, or this is some outdated talk? Stick around because it's about to get really spicy. Now, let's meet the ladies. Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you doing as well?
Oh.
I can see that. I mean, black and red. I have to ask what made you guys come up with this color.
We came with the traditional attire to, tackle.
Reno.
Yes, ma'am.
How is this tackling Reno?
I was thinking about the moment I saw that Reno.
Yeah.
I was just wondering that what's going on here. So we need to come like this because I think they said it's coming, from a religious perspective.
Yes, and from the
Okay.
tradition
So let us come from
perspective.
So is this
And
traditional?
wow,
you guys?
yes, now at least
can
this
think about
color
it, the combination of
symbolize
the
is
colours.
basically used in Benin.
Reno Omokri, get ready. Your Triumph, Ololade, and Goodness have something for you. I saw a particular quote earlier. Is it earlier? I think yesterday from Diary of a Niger Girl. I don't know. I always follow her page, and sometimes she has some amazing stuff. So she said something about procrastination that made me have a different mindset to it. She said that procrastination can be seen in another way. It's when people think that God owes them another opportunity. Like God is just giving out time for you to do this. And that made me feel like, oh my God, yes, we have
That's
to
why
be
you think you can do
custodian
something else.
of our time, because procrastination is a terrible thing. I've even seen some toxic quotes where people will say that my toxic trait is procrastinating and still getting it done. Do you understand? Just like assignments in school. I don't know if I was in that group chat. I would keep the assignment till maybe it's like 24 hours to submission. But because I know I might still find my way around it and still come up with something that will give me a B or an A, I just kept on with that. And it's making me look at the broader picture of things to realize that it's actually us being proud. The moment you procrastinate, the moment you say, I'll do it tomorrow, next week, is because you think that next week is yours to control. And that gave me like, okay, I need to change. How about you? What do you think about the comment before we move on?
What I think about it is that what she said is actually true. But I like the fact that you concluded in a very fantastic way that procrastination means you are proud.
Yes, you are.
Because why are you leaving it till the next time? Why are you leaving it till tomorrow? Something that you can do now. Why are you doing it? Just because you feel like, oh, tomorrow will come. So what if tomorrow doesn't come the way
tomorrow
you
will come in
expecting?
Jesus' name.
But in Jesus' name, tomorrow will come.
How about
so let us just
Goodness?
get
Let me
things
quickly
done.
hear our own
Well,
inputs before we
same
move.
thing she said concerning procrastination, that God giving us an extra chance. God has always been giving us an extra lengthy rope for us to hold on to. So in her own term, to her own understanding, she is, marrying both of them together as procrastination. God procrastinating to give us lengthy time.
And that's some deeper levels there. Thank you, Goodness. Thank you, Ololade. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we have amazing stories across Nigerian newspapers. So please be on standby. We'll be right back shortly.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back, our valued viewers. Remember, you are the main ingredient in all of our conversations. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's important conversation. Reno Omokri said that bride price should only be for virgins and non-virgins do not deserve bride price. And we want to open that context to really look at cultural issues as regards marriage. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 070250077749 or 0701424240. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune to channel 145 on your GoTV, and do not miss this for anything. We'll take a look at the pages of today's newspaper. We have the Punch, the Guardian, and of course the Tribune newspaper. And starting with the Punch, goodness would lead us.
All right, moving with the Punch leads with Ghana and Baraji McCarthy in tight race for PDP chair. And underneath, we have the rider neck divided over Dangoom's fate. Wike plots cancer move as PDP convention drama unfolds. Above the masthead, we have state versus discos. Now, this has to do with our electrical body. Power cuts begin over tariff impasse. And we have a rider kickoff that says states defiant and vow to dismantle disco's grip amid Enugu blackout. Just below the page, we have Tinubu gets the Tigress $100,000 each and flat, and the OON. Yesterday I was talking about this, and I told the host that this same thing that happened with the Super Falcons was going to replicate with the FIBA, that's the women basketball team. And yeah, it is. We're having the same issue. But I'm not going to go into details yet because
before you move away from that, I think we should also look at the bright side of things. Apart from the fact that we're seeing money going into places and we're expecting it in other places, but we are also topping the chart in some areas. I think that alone gives me some bit of excitement. I mean, the football team brought back the trophy. The basketball team brought back the trophy. It's like God is finally shining his light.
Of course, we are being celebrated worldwide. But at the same time, we should be lamenting concerning the different areas that need key key access, key focus in the country. The country is not doing well, but yes, we are doing well in sport. Is sport going to give us good health? Is sport going to give us good security? Well, that's the most important thing.
I've been standing on this, and I will keep standing on this fact that even if we are going through a lot as a country, this is not something that happens every time where our sport area, where the sport aspect of Nigeria is doing well.
No, we've been doing well. The basketball team have been winning the trophy 5 times back to back.
That's basketball team.
Yes, the football has been winning 10 times.
What kind of winning is
so
that?
It is,
what
they've won the trophy 10 times.
I should not glorify the winning because it's something that happens.
Yes, we've had it. If you are talking about the male aspect, the Super Eagles, yes, we can talk about that. But the Super Falcons have had it 10 times. The women basketball have had it 5 times stretch back to back. So this is not just like a new thing.
Like I said, I've said this before, that we are seeing these things that they are saying they are doing. They are not doing it in some other things.
Okay.
Since it is a good thing, let them celebrate.
I'm not saying don't judge. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying.
Stretch
this let's just move on to continue. Below. Okay, let me just say this. Below the paper page, we have fact to recover 101 billion naira from custom after audit reports. And the story I'm going to be taking on the Punch, leaving aside the Tigress for now. Let's say we're looking at beside the masthead, we have Aria's crisis, protesting ex-soldiers pressure federal government with Friday deadline. Just like I was saying, concerning what is going on. Now we are having the Super Falcons, we have the Tigres giving such amounts. Yesterday we spoke on the health workers, the nurses, and now this time we are looking at the what? The soldiers who had retired, asking for their pension. They've given their life, they've put their life in the line to protect the country, and now they are here. They are getting nothing. But I'm not saying they shouldn't give. I'm not saying they should not give the Super Falcons nor the Tigres money, right? But look at it. Okay, let's even look at it from this point of view. Now we are talking about the currency in the country. That Nigeria's currency, the naira, it's not of much value outside. But now our own president is giving these people in dollars, which is not our currency. So are you promoting Nigerian currency? Or you're promoting international currency, and after we'll be crying, lamenting that, oh, Naira is falling, Naira is falling. But this is here in our own country. Instead of giving out in our own Naira currency, you are giving out in dollars.
It will be very ridiculous.
Are you?
If they convert that amount?
That's just it.
15 million, because I did take my calculator and type in.
So it will be very
The
ridiculous.
first thing I know every
150 million
president will do, every leader will do, is to promote where you are actually governing.
Yes,
You
Nigeria
promote
first
our
policy.
currency, not dollars. Are we spending dollars in Nigeria? We are not.
Honestly, I can feel your pain, goodness, because
Very
this is something we've
painful.
spoken about on this table so much. The soldiers' own is quite saddening, because I think recently it was Shomore, that was clamoring for the police force to also get the pension that they deserve and even to increase their salary.
Imagine the police were protesting.
Security already
Now
has
ex-soldiers to the same
security,
thing.
and they are not giving due.
And those are the criteria part in the country. If our security is down, we are not safe in this country. That's just the truth.
Very true.
Every country needs tight security. We can have invaders from other countries. Now our security is a lacoon. It's just on its own.
If we have
and
invaders,
now
the Tigress will
just
they will
it.
help us.
oh,
Help Falcons.
okay.
We have to
Then
protect
they will
us.
fly, Abby.
All right, let's move into The Guardian.
Okay, let's check the pages of The Guardian News this morning. Starting with the screaming headline, Desperation Items as 2027 campaign begins 15 months ahead. I'm going to be talking about this, but let us look at some other headlines. 2027, Southwest PDP kicks as Wike backs Tinubu, gives fresh conditions for peace. Petrol soars to 955 naira per litre. As NNPCL, marketers hike prices. And then the next one, we have APC alleges El Rufai Atiku constitute threat to Nigerian peace unity. Now, before I talk about, the other headlines, let me talk about desperation items as 2027 campaign begins 15 months ahead. Now, this is a very interesting story because the election is coming in 2027 and campaign started already. Now in the news, they're already giving out stuffs.
They're doing countdown.
They're already doing countdown. They're already giving out stuff. They're already, both the opposition party and the other party, everybody's already giving out things, giving out provisions, giving out food. This brings me to say that have we not started, have they not started the same, is it the brainwash that I'm going to call it? Have they not started it too early this time around?
Because
This
they
is
want
the
to-
person that they are trying to beat
go
to the game.
against.
They've learned that if we're going to beat this person to the game, I'm sure you do know who I'm talking about. We need to go the extra. If we're
Early
looking 6
preparation.
months
Early
before,
preparation.
I think it's, they say early preparation meets what opportunity, or how do they put it? So
that's
let's see
what
how
they
it
do.
But I think it's
Fingers crossed.
distracting.
It's distracting.
It's so
It's too
distracting.
early and then it's
Do
distracting.
you know what they want? They want to eat their cake and have it.
And by
That's just it.
2027, we are going to be there to watch what is going to happen again in this country. Don't worry, we are going to bring you the update every time.
Absolutely correct. Let's see what the Punch newspaper has. I mean, the papers every morning causes me to chuckle. The Punch news, the Tribune, pardon me, says crisis in PDP over for now. This is from Wike. Restates his support for Tinubu, says his predecessors revoked Uni Abuja land. Disregard Wike's comment on party affairs. PDP professionals urge members. Above that, we see channel FAAC windfall into food security, human capital development, expert tells federal government. Olubado in council endorses Ladoja as 44th Olubado of Ibadan land. Armed men on motorbikes kill 11, kidnaps 70 in Zamfara. Like Falcon, Tinubu rewards the Tigress with $100,000 national honors. That's goodness favorite story. Lagos residents cry out as flood sacks communities. Women's rights group The Cries attack on female police officers. On the health story, we see world's first gonorrhea vaccination program to be rolled out in England. I think that's a major upgrade. Plot against Ojulari to undermine NNPCL reform CCDI. The West African Senior School Certificate Examination results, 38.32% obtained credit in 5 subjects, including English, math, and others. Result of 192,000 candidates withheld. And the last story on Ekiti 2026, Oyebanji at APC Secretariat formally declares intention to run for second term. The first one I want to talk about is this flood story, that because I saw a video this morning whilst coming to work, just at the junction here, and I just played my Instagram, and the first thing I saw was a woman clamoring about what had happened in her house. Apparently, because of the rain. Yesterday's rain was just incessant. It was just falling throughout from Sunday night into Monday. The sight I saw was quite scary, and I was asking myself, we have places like this in Lagos. Like, this house was properly furnished. So it's not the thatched kind of house that you think that this rain can enter this place. Like, this was an exquisite house in that sense. And all her rooms were flooded with water. She was even doing content and everything. And somebody in the comment section had to tell her, please turn off all your electricity, because you are walking on water as you're doing this content. Yes, it's good for the publicity and all, but this can also cause more harm. Imagine you having children in the house. The refrigerator was literally floating. Do you understand? And this is just one small. We have not even gotten to the peak of the rain. So it shows that flooding is still a very major concern in this part of the West, especially Lagos. And I'm sure it's due to so many, connections with the riverine areas and everything. So I think this is something to work on. And just a follow-up as we begin to wrap up this session, because we need to talk about Reno Omokri, is the WAEC results. I think it was a few months back, we saw on this table how some students were using torchlight to write their examination. We clamored and said, what's happening in the educational system? And I've come to tell you that the result we're seeing was expected. We had a sharp drop from last year's pass rate of 72.12% to 33.8% in the educational system.
We should be celebrating because we've won the trophy. Where our education system is calling.
I think everything is
the
going to hear
healthcare system is dead. And we also have the security in the country. In short, see, everyone in this Nigeria, we are in trouble.
I'm not in trouble.
No, I'm not in trouble.
I'm not in trouble.
Exactly.
But you made a very valid point. You've mentioned
There is
sectors.
sectors, education, right? Security, and we have the healthcare sector.
And this was what I was saying,
that is the basics every country needs. Let's look at even the European countries. Why are they doing well? If you check the education sector, it's fabulous. Check their healthcare sector, it's very good. Check their security sector. Can anyone just walk into their embassy and just have a way into the country? No. But in Nigeria, they give room to that.
Because they're not paying attention.
Yes. Things that you need to take, you need to channel resources into, pour resources there. We are not doing it.
And then the one they put resources at, we don't even
the
see what they use it
$100,000,
for.
is it not enough to do one road in one local government?
Do you know the funny thing? The reason
road?
why it gets me angry is that by the time they put that, you will not even see what they are doing. That was what I was saying that gets me angry about
because
the
we have plenty leeches
because
in the
by
government
the time they
system.
say that they are putting that amount, you are not going to see what they are doing.
All right, my ladies, I apologize that this has gotten to you, but I mean, you've mentioned amazing things that needs to be opened up. And one of these days, we'll still open up this sector because this education it was very expected, and this drop is terrible. It's a very sharp decline.
Look at the last jam. They had to retake it. Why? Because there was an issue with the computer system. And anyways, here we are crying.
We're moving forward from that, all right? Thank you to our viewers for joining us. I'm sure there are some stories here that has gotten you as agitated as goodness this morning. So please let us know on our YouTube platform what story caught your interest. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we're heading straight to our hot topic for today. Reno Omokri says that non-virgins shouldn't get bride price. Let's see how true that is. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. All right, welcome back, our valued viewers. Today's topic is quite interesting, and it's a conversation from Reno Omokri. He said, and I'm quoting, that non-virgins shouldn't get bride price at all. And it's got the internet on chokehold, actually. Former presidential aide Reno Omokri has set social media on fire with a statement that's both culturally loaded and emotionally triggering. According to him, bride price should only be paid for virgins. Anything outside of that, he says, is extortion. Yes, you had that right, extortion. In a lengthy post on his X handle, he even took it further by breaking down what he believes is the true difference between dowry and bride price, insisting that we've been mixing them up for years and misunderstanding their real meaning. Now, of course, in a society where modern love meets traditional expectations, this statement hits a nerve. Is he preserving age-old values or policing women's choices in the name of culture? Is virginity really the measure of worth in marriage, and where do men fit into all of this? We're not here to fight, though. We were definitely here to talk. So settle in, grab your popcorn, and let's unpack this hot button topic together. I just remembered it's morning, so you shouldn't be taking popcorn now, so your coffee. And let's talk about this conversation. So
This issue really needs popcorn because we need to chew it.
you need to chew.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should sip on it instead of chewing.
But let's have it. Let's have it for you.
Firstly, this is how we're starting the week, right? Hot takes and hotter debates. Reno says only virgins deserve bride price. But first thoughts, do you think that this is a truth bomb, or is just a cultural throwback that we need to outgrow?
Okay, so let me first start by saying that I've read the whole story and all of that, and the fact that it came from the perspective of the religious part. It says,
Yes, I did see a number of Bible verses. I didn't know it was
yes, a
that
number
religious.
of Bible verses. I did not know that it was, it was going to look into his scriptures and all of that. But I would also want to go religious, to answer that, right? So if he's saying that, only virgins, according to him, he says that, he gave quite a number of scriptures. In fact, I remember some of the scripture. There was Exodus 22. I remember some of the scriptures that he was mentioning. So the interesting part of it is that, let us not forget that if you are talking about religion, or if you're using the Bible to back up your claims, don't also forget that there's also called Jesus Christ. That Jesus Christ came, to give everybody access. You cannot be saying that, that there's already a lot of things with being a virgin and not being a virgin. You get things like, a virgin cannot, the Nigeria we are in today, a virgin cannot come outside, every time and say that, oh, I'm a virgin. People are being silenced. That's another thing on its own. Now, you're now saying that, okay, well, they are the only one that should be paid bride price. So what should happen to the ones that are not virgin? He said that they should just marry them. I was reading the whole story. I don't want to get
paint
angry
this
too
picture
early.
my Yoruba teacher used to paint for us in primary school. There's this Yoruba textbook we used to read. So he had a lot of cultural stuff to it. So he would tell us that in the olden days, as they say, that the Yoruba culture had it that when a man just married the woman, of course, they've paid the dowry already, but they don't know if she's virgin or not. So the first night that they have their, consummation and everything, he uses the white cloth to clean the blood from the hymen, as we think. Even though we're going to also look at the fact that hymen is not always bringing blood. So we just said person is not a virgin. It's virgin I'm using, not virgin, virgin. And so when they realize that she is virgin, there's this particular sound that is coming to my mind. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but let me move over from that. If they realize that she's not virgin, do you know what they will do? Everything that they've given the parents, the full package, maybe they gave a box of matchstick, they won't collect it too. They'll take half of it that you give us incomplete stuff. So I'm looking at all the cultural implications to it. I don't know if that happens. Funny how I really don't know much about how my own culture does it, but I think it's very general. In fact, the way he painted it was so funny. Wedding night that people are doing honeymoon now, and they will go to one 5-star hotel or something. This one, everybody will be in the parlor, waiting for what is happening in the inner chambers.
Unfortunately, it's not even everybody that is going to bleed.
Exactly, but it's expected that you bleed at that point. And he also mentioned that some ladies, then I think there was a story that we read that they will now manipulate it So they'll probably, I'm sorry that I'm going to go a bit practical, they'll do something to tighten, you know, their private area so that blood will come once there's penetration. Do you understand? So I'll still be virgin. So maybe you see blood. Do you understand? Some others will not. There was one story I even read that they will wait till their menstrual cycle so that there's also blood. Even though I feel like that one is quite messy. Like, how exactly is that going to happen? But it just shows that this is a cultural thing that has been for too long. Do you understand? And I just wanted to paint that story before hearing goodness thought on Reno's claim.
Unfolding gradually. Yeah. So the first thing first, when I went through is old stories concerning virgin not being them not paying bride price for them. Now let's look at this. What about those? I want to bring my own point of view and my own, you know, bargain of it.
Okay.
As a sports personnel, do you know that you can also lose your virginity rather? Because there are some exercises you do, you engage in. The hymen breaks.
Ballerinas, that's split.
So what will you tell, okay now, since he's claiming that they should not pay their bride price, those into such sporting activities, what should they do to them?
That also will get us to the point of understanding what virginity actually
That's
means.
just it.
Because modern day virginity has also changed. There are people whose hymen are still intact but are nowhere close to what's called sexual purity.
The funniest thing.
And that one cannot, that one can be cut.
The thing actually is there's something they call vaginismus, right? We have different types of hymen. We have some hymen that they need to go to the hospital for it to be broken. So what will you say about that too? Because when you are coming from a standing point of view, you need to have an overview of the other part of it. It's coming from the aspect of the religious stem. One thing you should know is, for you to establish a statement from the Bible, you should have had several backings of it, not just from the Old Testament. Old Testament, if you want to do religious here, Old Testament was basically where one thing they do with their righteousness or with their works was with their works. They do works, right? You have to do something for you to be acknowledged about something, and that is Old Testament. And that's why we see a lot of things that people use blood as sacrifices and everything. And Jesus Christ had actually paid everything in the New Testament.
Okay, before we go religious, right? Because there are other people listening to this that are not that. I'm thinking that his claim, he's okay to make his own opinions on what marriage or sexual purity should look like. But there's something that they're not highlighting. And that's the fact that sexual purity is different from virginity.
Yes.
There are virgins.
That's the problem that I am having with this story.
Let me land. There are virgins today, people that their hymen are intact. They've not had penetration, but they've had all forms of sexual intimacy, fingering, as they call it, smooshing, kissing. What else? Maybe masturbating in a way.
Because he used the language unknown, like virgins that have not been
Great. And then there are also non-virgins, people that probably had encounters in the past that probably now took a stance to be clean, in the sense that they adopted sexual purity. I think there's one philosopher that called it secondary virginity. That's why you see some say, oh, I'm abstaining, I've been chaste for a long time. Not because they are firstly very chaste, but this is the next part that they chose to follow. That's also sexual purity. So if you're talking sexual purity, it's different from the term virginity, because there are virgins, I'm going to hate it again, that are not sexually pure. In fact, they know, there was one person that put out somewhere, I think it was Blessing T also, that said, some of you that are claiming virgins, that you have had how many kinds of orgasm. Do you understand? Like, she virgin, they get orgasm in that sense, but you've had it because you've had other forms of pleasure. So if you were going to stick on sexual purity, I think that's what you should have elaborated more. And there are many thought leaders like that really elaborate on sexual purity, like Solomon Bucci. I mean, I'm waiting for his content, his comments.
About this, I don't know why I've not commented honestly.
I'm sure he's going to.
I wish we can, we can have him on this type of discussion, so he can talk about his quota on this, because, like you said, sexual purity and virginity, they are like two different things. You cannot say that it is only the people that they've not had anything to do with, But just like you explained it, right? It is not just those people. You cannot come and be saying that. I mean, I saw some comments on Twitter of people saying that he is 100% correct and all of that. I said, what about those people?
People that are saying it is because they don't have money to pay bride price.
That's another angle, because bride pricing is already a discussion that sometimes we need to really unpack. It's coming choking.
They just feel it's unnecessary. We have some men like that.
There are also some, but before we go on a short break, let's see if we can attempt this question. There was something he mentioned in his conversation where he was talking about the difference between dowry and bride price. So let's open that up. What's the difference that people should know today?
From his own stance, he said dowry is like a money and what do you call it?
A money given to...
A money and like a property. A money plus property given to the wife by her parents to take to her husband's house. And I can see mostly that is actually still in the Asian. If you have watched all these Indian movies, you see that like when the daughter is going to the husband's house, they will give the child, the mother and the father, to go and give whoever she wants to give in the house. So that was what he said about dowry. Money plus property given to her daughter by her parents to take to her husband's house. While virginity, he said, that was when he now started quoting Bible verses, bringing Bible verses, maidens. He used the word maidens. He used the word virgins.
Yeah, I think he said that the way the Bible described brides or maidens,
He
they were
even said the way
specifically
Jesus described brides.
used for people that were pure in that sense as virgins.
Yes.
But I think the other stuff I found out is very similar to what you have said. I think dowry is a more Asian thing. We just coined the culture and took it. I don't think we coined it. We did not really. We just changed the terms. Because the real dowry, we Nigerians don't practice it. That's the one that the wife. I think my teacher too. I remember some of the stories in some of the classes that we had. He would say that the ones that were practicing here, that if you go to India, that it is not the man that
actually it's the woman that pays the bride price.
That's a very interesting kind of culture. But somehow in my head, I'm like, wow, I go pay bride price to man me and everything. But I think what we should even uncover with the whole story is that bride price was not meant to be commercial. It was a way of showing respect. That's why there were certain things that were given as bride price. You see kola nuts, palm wine, things that when you are going to see a king, you will give the king. Not because you are probably being commercial or monetary in that sense. It's just a way of showing respect. Do you understand? And I think that's what I love the Yoruba culture for. I've had some friends of mine tell me that in the Yoruba culture, they don't like overly emphasize on how much that you are bringing. There's nothing commercial that is happening. That sometimes, even after you have paid the dowry, they will give you back and tell you that they are not selling.
Not just in Yoruba, in the Benin culture, they do that. Their bride price is 25 naira.
Funny how in my own culture, it's a major thing. I've heard of stories of people that almost cancelled their marriage because the list was choking.
And that's when they are now trying to use it as a way of getting money.
Somebody will say, why is this Igbo girl speaking like this? But I'm worried about that kind of culture.
The last statement he stated, extortion, that's what he's supposed to be using it for.
So the
he was talking about
extortion.
Yes, that if you collect bride price when the lady is not a virgin, is extortion. So that word exactly should be used for that instance.
All right. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll open up this conversation even more. If you have comments on this, you have a different point of view, would like to know that, and you can head out to our YouTube channel to drop your comments. We'll be right back shortly.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, welcome back, our dearest viewers. We're still talking about Reno Omokri's recent claim about bride price and virginity and everything. And I think before I let Triumph ask her question, I'm still going to hit on this thing that the essence of bride price is not a commercial transaction. We're not selling a sexual tool to you. Do you understand? So the whole overemphasis on you have to be a virgin before I pay. Are you trying to tell me that what you are paying for is my sexuality? Is that what our marriage is all about? Our marriage is for what? It's for companionship. It's to build a life together. Even though we know traditionally that
purpose.
Yeah, purpose. But we know traditionally maybe it's coming from that point of view where a woman was just a tool to make children.
That was in the olden days now, when
to
we were
just
seen as
take
the-
care of children. So maybe that's how you also see as a sexual tool. But that emphasis of are you virgin first before I pay bride price shows that you don't understand the essence of marriage, or maybe you are placing an a very stressful emphasis on the commercialization of somebody's sexual purity. You're not paying me because I'm about to be a sex tool for you. Do you understand? If that's what you want, go look around. You will find virgins that will collect money for something, even though, of course, people keep and again, it gives a mindset of some women. Some women now feel like, oh, what I'm keeping is for my husband. I have some like a different ideology to that. This whole it's for my husband. It's for my husband. It's the crown of my head. It's the this and that and that. I understand that, of course, marriage is honorable, the bed undefiled, as we say. There should be honor that you will give to the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. But firstly, you being chaste as a person is for you, and if you're religious like me, it's also for God. It's not because you're about to trade it to give someone. People have told me that there are certain virgins that marry, and it's not a criteria that their marriage is going to stay strong. Do you understand? So, in fact, there are certain virgins that they marry. To them, all they think they are handing over to their husband is that first night. After that, nothing else they bring to the table, as they say. Nothing else.
Even with the fact that, I've heard stories of people that, they get married to us as virgins. And then by the time, the whole thing, they don't become the ones that are going out to do, extramarital affairs. And then you're wondering that, well, I thought they recommended a virgin to
Interesting. So you were going to say something.
So, I was going to talk about the fact that, I got a comment while we were having this conversation that, wherever feminists are right now, they are going to be angry at Reno, all right? But, and I'm not a feminist, okay? But let us talk about the fact that, how about the men?
Yeah, I was really going to ask that question. Let's not put it like this.
Because why do we keep glorifying? So we don't. For example, just the way this man is glorifying virginity instead of sexual purity. That's the same way sometimes we glorify some certain things about the women and we leave the men. We leave them aside. Meanwhile, when it comes to marriage, at the end of the day, it's not a one-man thing. It's not just one person that is going to get married.
This is
it's not just one person that is going to take care of the
showing how it sees culture and how culture have always been subjugating the women in this society. So this is not just the first time. From the olden days, women have always been the brunt of the issue. Anything. Women, you must not, if you are married, don't go close to another man. Don't go close to this. Don't go close to that. What about the men too? Are they supposed to go close to other women?
Let's ask this question. So should virginity be required of men as well?
Yes.
Because another thing I have a problem with is there are certain men out there loitering, looking for who to devour, like the Bible will say. They are looking for virgins. Do you understand? Some of them have had the most useless of life in the sense that their sexual escapades is nothing to write home about. Do you get it? Some of them even have sexually transmitted diseases. They cannot come because it's not written on anyone's face except HIV and AIDS that you see them looking lanky. Do you understand? Some of them, it's not even written on their faces. They've had a number of sexual escapades. But when it comes to getting married, guess who their first target is?
You give me peace. You've never heard this before.
You look like my peace of mind.
You're the one that will give me peace.
But the whole point is that the women themselves, let me even tell you this particular story. There's a particular friend I know of in the hostel one time. I don't want to talk about much about her sexual stance, but to me, because of how conservative she is, I think that she's probably not so exposed sexually. So maybe we can put her in the category of virgin. Maybe I cannot authoritatively say because I don't know what you do. But there's a way you can just say, oh, this person is conservative. I think this is the way she's towing. But you know what she said to me? one time, not to me, it was a random, you know, this girls' discussion that used to enter marriage and different sexuality. And she was like, me, the way I am like this, I don't, even though I'm a virgin, I don't want to marry a man that is a virgin.
That is another thing. That is another thing with people.
So, as we are saying that women are the ones that are subjugated, there are some women that will not prefer a virgin man as their suitor.
Even if they're a virgin.
Exactly. What do you have to say about that?
See, okay, should we still go back to, you know, the Bible and all of that?
If you want to.
I just think that, like I said at the beginning, Jesus paid it all. Jesus paid it all. So whenever you are coming to things, anything can happen with anybody. Like you said, some people might have gone through this or that before they, you know, realize and they decided that I am going to abstain. I am not going to do this or do that. But what I am not going to tolerate from anybody, whether a woman or a man, is that you feel like either because you're a virgin or you're not a virgin, is an opportunity for you to trade it for something else and get something in return. It doesn't work that way. And people should stop, humanity needs to stop this thing. You don't say that, okay, because I'm a virgin now, I cannot marry somebody who is not a virgin, or I cannot marry somebody who is a virgin. You know, I hear all these things every time. The question is, what are the important things that you should even ask about this person we are talking about? Because virginity goes beyond sexual purity, you know, sexual purity, understanding responsibility goes beyond all these things that we are just talking about, that you must be a virgin, you must be pure, you must be this, you must be that. Because if we are to continue like that, from that sentiment, you know, I always talk about sentiment. Stop bringing sentiments when it comes to things that you want to, when it comes to things that you want to decide about how you want to spend your life. And I am going to put that on period. So whether you marry a virgin or whether you do not marry a virgin, but my question is, are you actually putting the right things first? Are you actually asking the right questions first? So that's my own take.
I think let's just quickly read this comment from Okeyagbe Okeyemi. Shout out to you, actually. I see your comment every time. He says, the bias with Reno's statement comes from cultural perspective mixed with religion and is not anchored on objectivity. I think that's very true. There's no much realism to that his particular conversation. Times have changed. Things have happened. There are some people, let's even go with the point of, oh, virgins. There's some research that tells us that some people are not virgins, not because of a wayward lifestyle or anything. Sexual abuse. I think 1 out of 3 women, according to some research, will tell you that 1 out of 3 had been sexually abused before a certain age.
Even before sexual abuse, it can also be as a result of the activities they engage themselves
Yes,
in.
activities they engage. So are you putting all that into consideration? Because I think he's also taking the stance that some traditional parents just force into their girl child. So it's almost like they are just training one fine piece of cake. Once the husband leaves you, there's nothing else that you're offering. What's my claim on sexual purity is something I stand on 100%. Because I'm a very religious person as well, and I'm not even putting a lot of religion to it, but my own values as a person, sexual purity is something that people should uphold. And you can uphold it at different points in your life. If you have had maybe some very, very outrageous escapades in your sexual life, that doesn't mean that sexual purity is not still attainable. It's still very much attainable.
Of course.
There are some people that, in fact, even with their... I've told you, I'm going back to what I'm saying again, because in case some people are joining us, I want you to hear this. There are people that are claimed virgins that are not even sexually pure. They are nowhere close to it. Are they the ones that you want to now put some glorified dowry, or as you call it, bride price on them? What are you really paying for? What are you paying for that they don't even know of? Some of them are given to pornography. Do you understand? That's not being sexually pure. Some say, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm just watching what people are doing. That is not being sexually pure. So the conversation for me, I think Reno Omokri is missing, is that he's emphasizing a whole lot on traditional beliefs and perspective, and it's not being objective to what sexual purity should be in the modern age of today. Because if you're going to talk about conversations like this, you have to compare the times. You were talking about the Bible and...
But even with the Bible, the Bible does not even glorify, you know, what is...
No, actually it does. If you go back in time,
that's back in time. That's in the past.
Even in the Old Testament, right?
goodness.
He was bringing verses from the Old Testament.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the story of Rahab. Rahab is a prostitute, and God used her. God didn't segregate, oh, because you are a virgin or you are not a virgin, you cannot do my work. If he's coming from the religious stand. We have the issue of Uzziah, who married Gomer, that was a prostitute. God instructed Uzziah to marry Gomer. So what are you saying? Is Gomer a virgin? No.
Do you know what God did in that? Do you know how I understand the story of how God worked with people in the Old Testament? Is that it was actually prevalent that people who are not sexually pure are treated the wrong way. Let us not even lie about that. That's why I think Tamar, hold on, I want to land somewhere. That's why even when Tamar, someone in the Bible, was raped by her brother, there was that stigmatization because then it was really upheld. Now I've even calmed down. Hold on, I want to land somewhere. But what God even showed us that should be a pattern that we're following now is that he did not segregate.
Yes.
Do you get it? So I think the Bible is a very honest material that shows you what was obtainable with humanity at that point and how that God even worked with it. So those instances you have mentioned just shows that there were things that were not tolerable in their times.
Because they they were working with commandments. And that's why I say it is based on work. They were working with commandments. So if they fly, where there is no law, there's no offense. But where there is law, there is offense. So if you go against the commandment that were given, then of course you've made an offense. So that was what they were following. And if you check, all his verses was from the Old Testament, which was based on the commandment.
I think Okpagbe has another comment here before Triumph, you will speak. You will speak. We're not concluding here. He says sexual purity and not so much on virginity is what should be emphasized, as you all said here. Great job. I always enjoy the morning program of this TV. Thank you very much, Okpemi. So let's hear Triumph's conclusion.
Okay, so my conclusion on the part, what I'm concluding on is on the scripture, the God part of it, right? When we take a look at God himself, God as a being. God is that person that I know that does not deal with people based on what you feel, what you think, what you are, or what you wear. The most important thing is the heart that you want to put. The most important thing is the heart and how ready you want to be at that point in time. So, for example, you made reference to certain people in the scripture. We made a lot of reference. Sometimes, even in the Old Testament, some of these prophets that we had, some of these people that led, even the children of God, sometimes they made the judgments based on themselves, not based on what God said. Sometimes when you hear a story of, okay, maybe a certain prophet killed or something like that in a certain number of people, that was his own personal judgments. God does not view people in that manner.
Before we wrap up this conversation, I'd like us to really stretch on that men part a lot. And I will take a comment from Reno's page talking about this whole thing. And this is from Most Simple. He says, I'm a firm believer in chastity, but preaching to women and not men is futile. This is what I love. He says the only way women will generally remain virgin is if men remain virgins.
That's true.
He says God demands sexual purity from every human and not just the women. So yes, this whole glorification of the woman.
I want to say something.
Okay.
Still coming from the biblical point. Mary was pregnant.
Yeah.
Joseph didn't meet her. They had no consummation. So in that instance, what will you say? That Mary is not a virgin. She had slept with another man outside. Because that's what it's saying now. If that kind of situation was here, there was nothing like white clothes to show.
If that was like something that happened in our today's world, oh, trust me. And if we had some kind of men that we have now. I think Joshua was a very upright person.
Yes.
I think Joseph. That's even how the Bible described him. So he was somebody that was able to be objective. If it was today's world, that we have social media,
the angel spoke to him.
They're going to drag her.
That's just it. So in that kind of situation, when you say that Mary was not a virgin,
they are going to drag
So
Mary.
what are your closing thoughts as we wrap up today's conversation?
For me, whether you're a virgin, you're not a virgin, sexual purity is the key. And God has said it. Come close to him. He has paid the price.
I think Pastor Goodness today wore
in her full element.
Her clergy clothes. Thank you so much. How about you, Ololade, as we wrap
so
up?
what I would like to say is that let us stop glorifying what is not necessary. And we should glorify the right things. And if we are going to glorify things based on what the scripture says, let us actually do things based on what the scripture says. Not that you're saying something based on what the scripture says, and then you are using it to You're using it to, yes, back up what is going on with you.
Trying to
so that you
twist the
trying to
words.
twist the words to fit something that is not right that you are doing. Because, you know, it's not unfortunately. You will most likely find that different aspect. You might be doing something that is terrible. You will find the part that makes, you know, is suiting. If you open your Bible that, okay, I'm doing something that is not good, you hear things like, you know, your righteousness might be as a filthy rag. And you are going back to sin. You know, all those things. So my conclusion...
It should not be like the Pharisees and the Sadducees.
So my conclusion is that, honestly, sexual purity should be the standard of this Reno's claim.
That's the lens we should look at the conversation.
Not virginity. And virginity is expected from both the female gender and the male gender.
Yeah, I like that. What a conversation, really. So whether you agree with Reno Omokri or not, one thing is clear. We're long overdue for honest conversations about how culture, gender, and tradition shape our relationships. At the end of the day, bride price or not, virgin or not, what truly matters is respect, choice, and understanding in every union. Let's build a society where value isn't reduced to a checklist, but seen in character, commitment, and care. Thanks for staying locked in with us. Same time, same table tomorrow, only on Raised Breakfast, where every voice counts and no topic is off limits. Do ensure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV and interact with us further. Have a great day.